It's Monday, November 14th. This is The Gateway. I'm Wayne Pratt. Vacant or nuisance properties can cause blight and safety hazards in parts of St. Louis. Neighborhood associations want owners to fix the properties or allow new buyers to move in.
They're interested in getting to know their neighbors. They're interested in keeping the property up. And then a lot of them become interested in the area that's around their properties.
In just a few minutes, St. Louis Public Radio's Chad Davis will report on how neighborhood associations are trying to address vacant properties. The two high schools the St. Louis Archdiocese plans to close are launching formal efforts to stay open. St. Louis Public Radio's Kate Grumpke has more on the initiatives by supporters of St. Mary's and Rosati Kane.
Both Catholic high schools are forming 501c3s to find a way to stay open as private Catholic schools separate from the Archdiocese. This week, St. Mary's is launching a fundraiser to come up with $10 million to operate for 5 years. They already have $3 million pledged toward that goal. Mike England is the school's president.
It is extremely important that the mission of St. Mary's High School, which is to provide a quality Catholic education to all young men, especially those that cannot afford it, that mission continues.
The schools are also exploring options to lease their current buildings from the Archdiocese. I'm Kate Grumpke, St. Louis Public Radio.
Gas prices in the St. Louis region are dropping. Gas Buddy's weekly survey of more than 980 stations in the area shows prices have declined nearly 6 cents a gallon in the past week. They are also roughly 15 cents lower than a month ago. Prices are still around 11.5 cents a gallon more expensive than this time last year. The average is $3.28. Gas Buddy says prices in the Metro East run from $3.39 a gallon to $3.99. They range from $3.44 to $3.95 in the Quincy area. Prices are hovering around $3.27 a gallon in Rolla. The prolonged drought has led to the discovery of 1,100 additional feet of cave in one of Missouri's national historic places. That's at Smollen Cave in the Ozarks. St. Louis Public Radio's Brittany Cordera reports.
Smollen Civil War Cave attracts 15,000 tourists a year. Prior to the drought, the cave's main passageway was a mile long. Now there are an extra 1,100 feet to explore. Although the new section is not accessible to the public, owner Kevin Bright says there will be access to new artifacts like spear points and mastodon teeth.
Now, what we did find back there in that section, there are tracks of animals. The Ozarks geology is pretty amazing, and there's something new every year that's discovered.
Bright says the new section of the cave provides more questions than answers about the Ozarks' natural history. I'm Brittany Cordera, St. Louis Public Radio.
For medical students, learning with real bodies is an invaluable gift. St. Louis University med students hold an annual memorial service to honor those who donated their bodies. Hundreds attended this year's ceremony Friday at St. Francis Xavier Church. St. Louis Public Radio's Sarah Fenton reports.
This year, 372 people donated their bodies so students learning to be doctors, physical therapists, and physician assistants can study them. The Gift Body Memorial Service honors those donors and gives their families an opportunity to remember them. Joyce Hill attended Friday's service with her family. Her mother, Veronica Fix, died in May. Hill said her mother thought donating her body after she died made perfect sense.
You know, it helps the next generation, and maybe whatever they learn from her, they'll be able to help her great-grandchildren.
During the ceremony, medical students performed music, said prayers, and offered reflections on the generosity of the donors and the gratitude they felt. SLU offers gross anatomy courses throughout the year where most of the bodies are used. Gross anatomy courses frequently use cadavers to teach about body systems and let students with less experience practice surgical techniques. Many at the ceremony, including first-year med student Maria Nash, said they didn't understand some lessons until they saw a real body.
There are times where I have not understood a lecture until I walk into the lab and physically see everything in real life.
At the end of the ceremony, medical students laid flowers in a basket. They'll be placed on the grave in St. Peter and Paul's Cemetery in South St. Louis, where the donors' cremated remains are buried. I'm Sarah Fenton, St. Louis Public Radio.
There are almost 25,000 vacant houses, commercial buildings, and land plots in St. Louis. About 60% are privately owned. Some can be a blight on communities, so neighborhood associations have been trying to acquire them or compel owners to make repairs. That includes a group in the Baden neighborhood. St. Louis Public Radio's Chad Davis reports.
Brian Glaze has fond memories from the years he lived on Annetta Avenue in the Baden neighborhood. In the 1990s, the street was filled with families and city workers. Glaze often takes a drive down the street to reminisce, but those drives can make him feel sad because he sees how much the area has fallen into decline. There are just too many vacant homes, and some are a big mess.
It's a sad situation, not only in this area, just over the completely North St. Louis, all abandoned houses.
Glaze's old home and most of the others on the block have owners, but they're not around. Some of them have boarded up windows and doors. Others have overgrown yards and collapsed roofs. It's a big problem in St. Louis, and because most vacant homes have private owners, neighborhood associations are trying to compel those owners to fix up the properties. If they won't, the associations are trying to acquire them. The Revitalization of Baden Association works to acquire vacant and nuisance homes. Gloria Gooden is the association's Director of Economic and Housing Development. She says by attracting buyers, they hope to strengthen the neighborhood.
They're interested in getting to know their neighbors. They're interested in keeping the property up. And then a lot of them become interested in the area that's around their properties.
Interested buyers have to submit an application to the association. If approved, they would have to pay any delinquent taxes and start renovations or work with a contractor who could fix the house up. After 3 years of renting the home and fixing it, they get the title. But the association can sometimes run into trouble getting the properties because owners can be hard to get in touch with. Some are international buyers who bought the properties during the foreclosure crisis of 2008. To address the problem, Legal Services of Eastern Missouri founded its Neighborhood Vacancy Initiative in 2018. Lawyers provide free help to about 20 neighborhood associations in North and South St. Louis to compel property owners to fix up properties.
A lot of homeowners, black homeowners in particular, lost their property due to mortgage foreclosure.
That's Peter Hoffman, managing attorney for the initiative. He says the foreclosure crisis made things worse.
Those properties were sold off, and investors started to get wise that, there's all kinds of inventory that we can really scoop up for pretty affordable purchase price.
Hoffman says often absentee owners will repair their property without having to go to court. And it's not always bad actors who are neglecting their vacant properties. Tori Park is director of the St. Louis Vacancy Collaborative, which keeps track of them. She says part of the job is to educate homeowners and families on inherited properties so a home doesn't become vacant.
I imagine most folks who find out, they've inherited a property, but they share it with 5 other siblings. So there are folks that just don't know what to do with the property they weren't planning on owning.
Park says owners who don't want their properties can hand them over to neighborhood associations or to the city's Land Reutilization Authority. Other organizations, like the Old North St. Louis Restoration Group, often buy vacant lots from the LRA and work with co-developers to build on those properties. And neighborhood associations are successful acquiring properties. Fatima Mohammed of the Hyde Park Neighborhood Association says it's picked up about 8 homes so far. She hopes buyers stay and strengthen her neighborhood for future generations.
I can have this beautiful home on a street, maybe that block is great, but the surrounding areas are in disrepair. So I've got to work to build the entire community up so that everybody benefits.
Mohammed says she'll be happy when Hyde Park is full of families again. I'm Chad Davis, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our David Casares edited that report. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a listener-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Wayne Pratt.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.